Convenience feels cheap in the moment. $10 for a food delivery, $7 for a monthly subscription, 15 for a quick Uber. But what if I told you these small conveniences could be costing you thousands of dollars a year without you even realizing it? Welcome back to the Carless Millionaire, the YouTube channel that documents my decision to refuse to buy a car until reaching $1 million net worth. Not to be extreme, but to be intentional with my finances and focus on long-term investing and avoiding lifestyle inflation. I make a new wealth video every Tuesday, and here we break down money the simplest way possible so that you can build wealth. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about something that's quietly draining your bank account, and that is the cost of convenience. Section 1. What is convenience spending? Convenience spending essentially is when you pay money for convenience. It's when you spend extra money for that convenience. You spend extra money to save some time or spend less effort. And it shows up everywhere. Get a food delivery instead of cooking food or going to the grocery store. Maybe you don't have the ingredients at your house. Uber instead of driving. Subscriptions you barely use and buying instead of fixing something. None of these feel expensive in the moment. But that's exactly why they are dangerous. And I totally get it. When you're coming home from a long day of work, you just pulled an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-hour shift. And you come home, and the last thing you want to do when you come home is cook up a meal. And then you check the fridge, and there's nothing easy to make, or nothing you like. And then you leave, and then you lower your standards, and you check the fridge again, and you're like, crap, there's still nothing. And then you leave again, and you check the fridge a third time after lowering your standards another time. And you're like, crap, there's still nothing. So you pull up the Uber Eats app, and then food can be at your house in 20 minutes. And you just pulled an 8 to 12-hour shift and you're hungry, you want to eat, so you order it. I 100% get that. Section 2, the real cost of convenience. Let's break it down. Ordering food delivery just 3 times a week. That's an extra $15 to $25 extra per order. I said extra twice. Why am I being so extra with my extras? But yeah, that's an extra $60 a week. $240 a month, and that is nearly $3,000 a year, and that is just on one habit alone. Now, if you stack on subscriptions, convenience fees, and impulse spending, you could be losing $5,000 to $10,000 a year without even noticing. Also, another add-on to the cost of convenience are the convenience stores. You know, like the 7-Elevens, the gas stations, the ones that are conveniently located just down the street from the neighborhood. On average, convenience stores mark up their items 20 to 100% more than traditional supermarkets. Household essentials like milk and bread are typically about 10 to 15% higher at convenience stores, while snacks, candy, and soda are roughly about 50 to 75% higher. I remember a couple of years ago, I was having a bad stomach ache and I was at the gas station. This is back when I used to have a car. And I remember needing that over-the-counter medicine right then and there. So I bought it and it was a small size and it was like 12, 13 bucks. I was like, dang, this was hella expensive. And then I remember a few days later, I was at the supermarket and I was like, you know what, let me see what the pricing for that medicine is here. And it was a larger bottle and it was like $7.99. And a quick little fun fact, if an area has a strong concentration of gas stations and convenience stores throughout the area, that is usually an association of a low income area. This is where people will only have access to convenience stores and not the easiest access to supermarkets, which unfortunately puts people in a position where they have to pay higher marked up prices for these foods. Sometimes the cost of convenience can exceed finances and can also cost your health. So please be aware of this fact. If you're in a position where you have easy access to a supermarket and grocery store, you're not in a bad position. And if you are unfortunately in a position where there's nothing but convenience stores all over your area, focus on what you can control. Each time you're at the grocery store, stack up on non-perishable foods and get foods that you can freeze and cook whenever you can. You may have to sacrifice some convenience, but that's going to financially benefit you. Section 3, why it's so addictive. Convenience is designed to feel good. After all, it's freaking convenient. Apps make it so easy. It makes it frictionless and it makes everything fast. You don't feel like money is leaving. There is no pain. You just have instant gratification. And instant gratification is what keeps you stuck. One of the main reasons why you don't feel like money is leaving is because you just press a couple of buttons, scan your Face ID, and boom, food magically appears at your door. Kind of like when paying with a credit card at a restaurant. Studies suggest that when you pay with a credit card at a restaurant, you're more than likely to spend 12, 18, up to 80% more. Why? Because it doesn't feel real. It doesn't register like cash does. When you spend $80 in cash, you give that $100 bill, you physically see that $100 bill turn into a $20 bill. It registers a lot easier. Section 4, the opportunity cost. So every dollar you spend on these conveniences throughout the course of the year is a dollar that cannot be invested, is a dollar that cannot grow, is a dollar that cannot compound. It's a dollar that cannot be used towards a down payment on a home. So let's just say throughout the course of the year of you paying for convenience, whether it's Uber Eats and paying for food deliveries 3 times a week, or it's buying things at convenience stores and gas stations. Hey, I'm here right now. I want it right now. I'm not going to wait till I get to the supermarket later on this week. I want my instant gratification. I want this Red Bull right now, and I'm not going to wait. Or making coffee runs instead of making coffee at home. Why am I going to brew up this coffee right now and put it in a coffee mug that I can't take with me? Why not just leave to work and get my coffee in a nice coffee cup to go? Because it's quicker and it's more convenient. I'm not trying to carry a coffee mug with me in my car and drive with that. I'm not trying to chug this coffee before I get in the car either. I don't have time for that. So let's say throughout the course of the year, that's $5,000 on convenience that you've spent. Here's where it gets real. That $5,000 a year you just spent on convenience. What if you invested that instead? If you invested $5,000 a year. In 10 years, $5,000 a year invested could be $70,000 plus. So it's not just what you're spending, it's what you are losing out and missing out on. In a nutshell, convenience today equals less freedom tomorrow. It's up to you though. You decide. You get to make that choice. Please make an informed decision. Section 5, how to take control. Now, I'm not saying eliminate convenience completely. At the end of the day, time is more valuable than money. Once you spend $20, you can always get another $20. Once you spend 20 minutes, those 20 minutes are gone forever. But what I'm saying is you need to control convenience, especially if you are currently in a building phase of your life. You need to do it. And here's how you control it. Step 1, awareness. The first step of improvement is awareness. You have to be aware that there's things that we can improve on. So track your spending for the next 30 days. Step 2, you want to set a limit and you want to be aware of that limit. A good example, only 1 food delivery per week. And please don't have that one delivery be the most expensive one. Don't be like, oh, I only get one of these. Let me max out. Step 3, replace your habits. Cooking simple meals. Plan ahead. Make convenience intentional, not automatic. A good example is when you cook your meals, instead of cooking one meal one time for one portion, cook a lot more. You have like 3 meals with one cooking session. So a good thing you can do about that is you can take 1 meal to lunch and have 1 meal prepped there for you ready when you get off of work. So after you finish pulling that 8-12-hour shift and you're hungry and you don't feel like cooking, guess what? You already cooked it. You go home, you open up your fridge, you get that meal prep, you throw in the microwave, you heat it up, and you eat it. No Uber Eats. Now, that's pretty convenient if you ask me. One thing that I did earlier this week, actually, that created convenience. After buying my groceries for the week, I knew there was 2 dishes I wanted to make, and those dishes consisted of onions. So I bought 4 onions. So when I was cooking my first dish and I was chopping up the onions, I thought to myself, I'm going to need chopped onions for my next dish in 2 or 3 days. So instead of re-chopping the onions in 2 or 3 days, I said, well, I'm here right now. I'm chopping the onions right now. Let me chop the rest of the onions and just have them ready. Now remember, each cooking session gets me multiple meals that last me multiple days. So 2 or 3 days later, when I was ready to cook the second dish, guess what was conveniently there ready for me? Chopped up onions. I didn't have to do it. I didn't have to chop up onions and cry again. I already took care of it. And the beautiful thing is I created this convenience and I did not have to pay extra for it. Step 4, ask this question. Is this worth my future freedom? That question alone will spread awareness, help you set limits, and force you to change your habits. In closing, I will say this. Convenience is not the problem. Uncontrolled convenience is. If you take control of this one area in your life, you can free up thousands of dollars a year. And that money can be life-changing. If this video has helped you and added value to your life in any way, shape, or form, please subscribe to the Carless Millionaire YouTube channel. I make new wealth videos just like this one every Tuesday. And if you like this video, you might like my previous video where I break down and explain the $1,000 emergency fund. And I also talk about how to get your first $1,000 emergency fund too. Thank you all for being here, and I'll see you next Tuesday with a brand new video.